Phil Strebel, Freeport McMoran is going to report earnings this Wednesday. It's the first big miner to come out. How will that set the tone for the rest of the miners, as well as the price of gold, which has been range-bound recently?
Well, if you look at Freeport McMoran, what they're expecting is 82 cents per share. Now, this would be a 44% decline year over year. I mean, Freeport McMoran has had increased sales in the U.S. as demand for gold in the U.S. Being held as an asset continues to increase. I mean, you've got a lot of issues with, European sovereign debt. You've got slower growth reports out of the U.S. We saw retail sales come out this morning quite weak. The reaction to gold was about a $15 increase to the upside right out the gate once that news came out. Now, when you're talking about a miner, they're always going to face similar problems as all other miners. Freeport McMoran was one that had some issues with a few of their mines. And again, that's an underlying theme that you have to contend with anytime you invest in miners.
After Goldcorp said they were going to be cutting production, do you think we're going to see this from the rest of the miners as they begin to report?
Yeah, well, you might see production being cut because of the fact that they may be, ramping up investments in some of their mines, or they may even be shutting down some of their mines, looking to sell some of those off to other junior miners. So I think you'll see a consolidation in the mining industry. And then I think once you start to see the US dollar come off of its highs, start declining, you'll see gold in dollar terms start to rise quite extensively. And then I think a lot of these miners, technically on the chart patterns, are really going to turn around. Back to your first one, Freeport McMoran, I love that chart pattern. There's almost a triple bottom in there, and it's starting to move up quite nicely.
Putting it all together, does this create a floor under the price of gold? All these production cuts and all these miners looking to consolidate?
Yeah, I still think you do have a floor on the price, and right around gold is, somewhere right around 1550 to 1535. Anytime we start getting a breakdown, like we saw this morning, if we would have got a little bit more of an extension lower down into the 1560s, I would have been calling clients and recommending them to start looking at scaling into positions. Now, as we go back through 1600, we face small resistance there. We get back over 1607, it starts to break back out to the upside. But 1625 to 1640, same thing. You got to start taking profits or really tightening up those stocks. So extremely range bound. And yes, there is a floor, but unfortunately, right now there's a ceiling.